it's just scary. Normally I don't even discuss this concept of using margin in the stock market. Does anybody have a clue what I mean by, say, buying or selling on margin? Anybody? You ever heard of a word called leverage? Using margin is using borrowed money to buy more stock than you have. In other words, you're going to start the game with $100,000. Actually, on the first day, you could spend up to $200,000. You're $100,000 and you borrowed $100,000 from the bank. Okay? This is what's called leverage. In other words, you can buy twice as much as you could have without borrowing money. The problem, this increases the risk and return. This takes risk and return and puts it exponentially. And the reason it does is because the bank does not participate in your gain or in your loss. If you leverage and you go down 20% on a stock, the bank still gets its money back. You went down 40% on your initial investment. But I will tell you this, the teams that are down in Richmond at the end of the year, standing on the podium, utilize margin. I would not suggest that at the elementary school level. I would not suggest it at the middle school level. If you have a group that is just wired to playing the stock market game and is all into it, I would suggest introducing at that point the concept of margin. Again, remember, the bank neither participates in the gain or in the loss. I don't know if any of y'all have heard of a company called MF Global. They've been all in the news in the last 3-6 months, okay? They made one wrong bet on the direction of the euro versus some. I didn't forget what they were doing. And one little bet took the company completely under. And you go, well, how can that be? They were margined or leveraged 40 to 1, which means for every dollar of their money, they borrowed $40 and invested that. All you have to do is go down 2.5% on your investment. You're wiped out. 2.5%. Actually, the thing that's so ironic is the big bet that John Corzine made, who was the chairman of MF Global as well as a former governor of New Jersey and a state and a U.S. senator, is the fact that the bet worked out. But he had to cover it before it could work out. And there's still $1 billion floating around, nobody can figure out where it is. That's what margin does, but it can work to your benefit also. And if anybody has an interest in knowing, find out how to go short on stock, happy to talk to you about it later on. But again, people who win go short on stocks as well. So, thank you.
Okay.